The world's bloodiest wars have become a lot more bloody, and that's particularly true of Iraq, Syria, and Nigeria, and of course Ukraine, a war that wasn't happening in 2013 at all. I'm Pete Apps, I'm Global Defence Correspondent at Reuters, and I'm currently on sabbatical as Executive Director for the Project of the Study of the 21st Century, also known as PS21. Over the last few months, we've been looking at some of the deadliest wars on the planet. Well, the most striking takeaway is the sheer increase in the number of deaths we saw in 2014, an increase of more than 28%. The most surprising finding for me, I think, was just how high Nigeria comes. We don't think of Nigeria as one of the world's bloodiest wars, but it's now come up to be well within the top 5. I think there's a lot to be said for the idea that the smaller groups should be easier to control, but they're also a lot more lethal than they used to be. So if we look at particularly the top 4, which would be Boko Haram, ISIS, the Al-Qaeda affiliates, and Al-Shabaab in Somalia, then they are killing a lot more people than they were a handful of years ago. Well, we're seeing different dynamics in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Syria, of course. Iraq and Syria have increasingly become part of the same war. In Syria, we still have the war between Assad and the opposition, but the overwhelming factor in terms of number of deaths is now the war against ISIS. In Afghanistan, what we're really seeing is a rise in violence, essentially ahead of the US withdrawal. If we look at the top 10 conflicts, we see that almost all of them, with the exception of Ukraine, take place along religious fault lines, whether it's between Sunni and Shia in the Middle East, or whether it's between Christian and Muslim when it comes to Africa, both Sudan and Nigeria. But overall, I don't think we really understand this recent spike in violence enough to know how to reverse it.